Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be sharing how I get an intern offer at Bain. This video contains 4 parts: timeline, application, case interviews, and behavior interviews. Disclaimer, they just represent my personal opinions and experience. I got accepted into Bain's early program crew, connecting and resourcing empowered women. It's a program only for sophomore female students. The program guarantees an interview in early May, and I was notified of the time around March. So basically, I have 2 months prep time for the case and behavior questions. And I was interviewed in the 2nd week of May. That's about the timeline. Now moving forward to the application process. To apply to the crew program, I submitted a resume, a cover letter, and a hire review. The resume and the cover letter are completely the same as the normal application cycle. Here's a brief overview of my cover letter. Many companies don't really read cover letters, but for consulting firms, especially MBB companies, they do take cover letter as a very important selection criterion. And here are a few tips I have when I'm writing cover letter. The first is the format. Keep your cover letter in 1 page, 500-ish words, and ensure that it has some date, your address, your contact info, and also the basic structure. Second is be genuine. Tailor your cover letter to the company, position, and just don't use generic templates. Like, you can immediately tell if someone is just changing a few words to use a template for every firm. Show your research, knowledge, and passion for the company. Just ask yourself first, why do you want to go to this company? What are some things when you're networking or going to the info session or just doing research online that excites you or resonates you with the company? For example, I write, from the artistic red theme to mentorships and externships, Bain really is a place with no shortage of growth. Another part I write, through crew, I learned a lot of the initiatives at Web and Inspire, and I really hope to help nonprofits maximize their impacts. The last part is mutual fit. Just don't only write about why you want the company, but also prove to them that why you fit the company. Try to show your professional experience with concrete examples and show the company why you have the appropriate skills to do the job. For example, in my cover letter, the 3 body paragraphs, I write 3 key qualities. The first is, as a curious learner and open-minded explorer, I've gained strong communication, multitasking, and teamwork abilities. The second is, moreover, I'm a mission-driven doer who always advocates for creating impact, especially women empowerment. The last one is, I've cultivated both applicable analytical skills and creative thinking on and off campus. So the next question is how to prepare for a case interview in a short time. My method will be categorized into 2 phases. The first is called Learn and Copy. I have 3 steps. The first is to watch a lot of YouTube videos to see what is a good case interview look like. I have a Notion page writing down all the good words, professional jargons, and some sentences such as, can I take a few moments to think? Something like that. In the second step, I will Google a lot of case interview tips and read articles. There are some good websites like Management Consulted, Victor Chain Case Interview, and some Reddit experience too. The last one is to use crafting cases. There are some free courses there, especially the framework chapter is a really good course. I highly recommend that. The second phase is create, and I have 5 tips here. First is to find mock case partners and start early. So I have a lot of case partners, which gave me plenty of insights from different perspectives. Overall, I've done 27 cases. It's not a lot, but I think it's the quality of each case that matters. So by practicing, I mean after every case, I will open this Notion case tracker and I'll write down the prompt, the source, the time, and my answers and the feedback so that every time I can really absorb the case. I can know what I did wrong, what could I have done better. I think this is one of the most important suggestions I have. One day before my interview, I didn't do any full case, but just to look at my notes. The second tip is to use casebooks. So I don't think you have to do all the full case every time, but more just take a look at the case and then see if anything catches your attention, or just see if any part that you want to practice, for example, like math or framework, or just brainstorm. The third tip is to practice drills, and I use Rocket Blocks. Initially, my math was terrible. I always got 1 more 0, or there are just some small math errors. Therefore, after practicing only the math drills for kind of like 2 days, my math improved drastically. The fourth tip is to build your own framework. I know there are plenty of frameworks on the internet and you definitely have to remember some, but at the end, in order to make the framework more customized and just more creative and differentiated, I would suggest to create your own framework. You can take a look at my framework here. I use Xmind to just kind of summarize all the framework buckets that work for me really well. And lastly, how do I get more creative? How can I make my case stand out? So for me, I mainly listen to a lot of podcasts, The Journal, Wall Street Tech News Briefing, Morning Brew, and some just random business and technology podcasts. But it also works if you like reading newsletter, or the main goal here is to learn constantly and know what's happening in the world around you. Another thing I want to share is how do I take notes? Imagine this is a A4 paper and I will draw 2 lines. On the left side, I'll write the prompt, and on the top, I will write the goal just to remind myself always circle back to the key goal. Then the framework in the structure of a tree. And another trick is I will change a color pen to do the math so that it won't be messy everywhere. And the final answer will be transferred back to the left so that I will never lose it. And go back to the original pen, doing the brainstorm questions, and then finally do some recommendation on the left. Finishing the case part, let's move on to behavior questions. I'm sure many of you heard of the STAR method, and for me, one struggle was I always knew how to do it, but just didn't demonstrate it well in my answers. I always maybe talk too little in my actions or results. So one solution I have was I created this Excel sheet and I have 4 columns as TAR. Then I write on my stories and then fill in the cell. That really make my stories very detailed and effective. After kind of making your answers more polished, then just start practicing. Don't make it sound like a robot, like you're remembering all the answers. Just write down some bullet points and then practice more and more. This is the end of my video, and thank you so much for watching. In the future, I'll create more videos about networking and resume. If you're interested, please subscribe or leave any question in the comment section.